Hi, I'm Jeff Ludy, the owner of Houston Window Experts. Thank you for watching this video about how to replace a window in a brick home. I'm joined today with Jeremy Devereaux, who's our production manager. Jeremy, also have Enrique here standing next to me. He's one of our installers, and we're going to teach you how to take this window out and put a brand new window in. Jeremy, what's the first thing we need to do when we're buying a new window?
Measure it correctly.
Okay, if you get it wrong, it's not going to work, right?
Right.
So we actually have a video devoted just to how to measure properly Jeremy made. It's right up here. You can click on it, also down in the description. So now that we've measured the window and the window arrived, what's the next step?
Well, I want to measure it again, the opening, measure the window and not just the paperwork, and make sure it's going to fit properly.
So we want to make sure that it was made right and that we got our measurement right the first time. Nothing worse than having to put up a sheet of plywood for a couple of months while you're waiting for a window.
That's the worst.
Okay, so we've done that. The window's here. We're happy about it. Now what's our next step?
So we've set up already, protected all the furniture. We got our drop cloths out here, so it's time to start removing the window, and we'll start with the glass. Removing the glass.
All right, so what's the first step in removing the glass?
So we're going to take these glazing beads off right here and pull that off, and then we're going to put this blue film over the glass.
Okay.
And that helps for if it does break on us, it stays together instead of just flying.
Kind of holds it all in one piece. Okay, and that's one thing that a lot of companies don't do. We do that because we found that it's better than to have to sweep up at the end of the day, and you can't always get all the glass if you do break some. Is that correct?
And it's safer too.
It's safer too.
Even though we have our,
protection sleeve on, protective eyewear, steel toe boots. These are all important things to stay safe when you're putting in a window. Okay, Enrique, Jeremy, let's get going.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got Enrique inside. He's putting the blue film on. He's almost done with that. Jeremy, the next step is these glazing beads, right?
Right.
Tell us what that is, and then how do you get it out?
So they go here, they go around the window. I've taken this one off. It goes there. It helps hold the glass in, and it also just makes it prettier. It covers that spacer and nobody gets
And you get rid of that sharp edge as well,
Exactly.
right? So if you're here cleaning the house, cleaning the windows, you're not going to cut your fingers or whatever.
Right.
So this is really more decorative probably than anything, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, show us how to get one out, would you?
So they're old and brittle, so sometimes you can pop it out just by flexing it out, but this one's not wanting to come, so we'll just cut it out of the way. We can just get in here like that and go around like that. Just cut it out of the way. It just comes out in pieces like that.
Okay, so sometimes it depends on the window, right? Like what kind of a glazing bead it has. Some glazing beads you can actually take out whole. Others you actually have to come through and do this. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, yes.
Like so patience is the name of the game on this.
Yeah, and that's why we wear all this safety gear, because it's easy to get cut doing stuff.
Yeah, these things can be sharp. Yeah. Okay, so Jeremy, I see you got the glazing bead out on the outside. In fact, we even took one of the paints out already. Tell me what is Enrique doing with the heat gun?
So the heat gun is warming up where the glass is touching the frame. They usually put silicone in there and install the glass into the frame from the manufacturer. So you can't just get it out. We got to heat it up, and we take a sharp putty knife and run it around, and it cuts that sealant all the way around so the glass can come out.
So it can come out. Okay, so what we're attempting to do here, even though it can crack sometimes, that's why we put the blue film on, is you're just saying we're slower this way, but the benefit compared to what? What do other people normally do?
Oh gosh, I've seen guys just take a hammer and just not try to throw the hammer all the way through it, but just break it and then just piece by piece put it in the trash can, but it goes everywhere. I've seen people use a glass cutter and it's better organized, but it still breaks in a lot of pieces.
Still a mess, okay. Yeah. And like we're, 15 feet from a swimming pool, so smashing the glass probably wouldn't be
not the best idea.
In our industry, they call that smash and dash, and the way we do it is called slow and go. And it takes a little longer, as you can see, but it's actually a better process, and it's better on the house, and it's cleaner as well. All right, let's see if we can get this thing heated up enough that we can actually tilt the glass out and show them what we're doing.
Okay, perfect.
I see, Jeremy, it's almost out, isn't it?
It's almost out.
Okay, so the heat gun actually does the loosening of that glue. You're out here pulling, he's in there pushing a little bit. And you are right about this glass cracking. It did crack on us trying to get it out, didn't it?
It does. Most, not all the glass does, but double pane is the hardest to get out, for sure.
Yeah.
So
there it comes. Oh, by the way, you would think, why would anybody need to replace a double pane window, right? Well, double pane windows does not mean you've got a good window. It just means you got a double pane window. And I made a great video about that. I'll link to it down below about replacing bad double pane windows. Okay, Jeremy, so this is going out to our dumpster, correct?
Correct.
Can we see is that the glue right there? Is that what that is? That's the adhesive?
Yes, that's been holding it in.
Okay, and I can see it feels kind of warm still where we just heated that up.
Right.
Okay, so Jeremy, how are you going to take this bottom part out?
So because it's a double window, we can raise this up and we can break these out. I'll just take a hammer and break this bar out of the way and do the same thing over here.
All right,
and break
let's do
out
that.
of the way.
Got a hammer?
Yep.
I love using a hammer, but I'm going to leave this to the pros. So while Jeremy's working on this, I thought I should mention that if you're looking for a window company and we can be of help to you, please check out thewindowexperts.com. There you'll find more information about how we can help you, or we can point you to one of our partners all over the country of great window companies that do a terrific job. Man, Jeremy, you're pretty good with a hammer. I would have hit that glass at least a dozen times.
Okay, I'm going to get the Sawzall.
Okay, I'll get out of your way.
Ready, Kike?
So you could have just hit that with a hammer, right? Some people do, but...
So yes, some people do. So now we can go back down. Let's push this sash down, Kike. Oh, you already got that one in? So he's folding it in there. Let me go down with mine, loosen it up. Okay, so we got to watch the... You got it?
That's the balancer cord right there. You got to make sure your face is out of the way, and that goes back up. Okay, good. So you got one out, and then now number two.
This one's even easier now. Okay, I got the sash. Okay.
Beautiful. And then
much
what?
faster
you just
than doing
take
the
this middle
glass.
out now?
So this, you can just rock it back and forth, but first he's going to cut really good to the sheetrock, to the frame all the way around. So we're going to try to avoid any kind of sheetrock damage while we pry this frame out.
Okay. So there can be a little bit of sheetrock damage. That is expected because we are going to have to do some prying here. And Jeremy, tell us, like, it depends on the builder, right? Like sometimes we don't know what's going to happen.
So when we get this frame out, we'll be able to show you why.
Okay.
But there's a nail flange in behind the brick, and most of the time they'll put one every 2 or 3 feet, but sometimes a guy with a nail gun's having a lot of fun, and he'll fill it up with nails, and it's just hard to pry it out. And some builders took the extra step and put the flashing tape and all that adheres in behind that wall, so it's a little harder to pull that frame. So you got to put a lot of strength and pressure on it, but then you're also risking the sheetrock a little bit. But it is easily fixed with a painter.
Okay, so Jeremy, I see you got the frame out. That was quite a bit of work. What are you doing now?
We're cleaning the opening. See all this, the old existing caulk and everything, and this mortar just is all in the way. So they install the window first, and then they put their brick around it. And just when they're making those bricks sit on top of each other, this will smush out into the frame.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that, but we just want to get it nice and clean all the way around so our window can slide in.
Perfect. All right, so Jeremy, you got all this opening out, cleaned up. You and Enrique got all this vacuumed. It's ready to go. And what is our next step?
The next step is we want to flash, and this is the one thing that we do that I don't know of any other company that does. Maybe there are some, but what we do is, so they did a pretty good job flashing. Usually you just see a raw 2x4, so they did a good job, but when we tore that frame, there's just some little damage there. So what we do is we're going to stick ours in here like this, and then roll it up like that. That way if any water gets into that opening, it goes back to the original drainage plane. It's okay for water to be between the brick because it goes down the wall and it comes out your weep holes there. That's the way it's designed to work.
That's the way it's designed to work. So that is the danger with taking out an original window, because this original window did have those nailing flange going over that, and now we've destroyed the envelope that seals the window and the house together. So rather than just putting the window in, putting some caulking on it and calling it a day, this helps us have a leak-proof window, which I mentioned in that video that's down below about how to do this. There's also another component to it, right, Jeremy? Tell us real quick about what you're going to do at the top here.
So the head flashing, yeah. So for example, if there was any cracks in this brick up here, if the roof had a small leak or anything, water comes down, and here's your waterproofing here. The water would actually come down right here and sit on top of the window. If you don't do anything, it could get this wet and start dripping, things like that. So we have our metal rigid flashing. And we put a big bead of sealant up there, and we smush this up into it so it seals all this area. So
and you
any
put screws
water,
in there to hold it?
Yeah. So any water has to go to the edges, which is inside of this flashing, back to the original drainage plane.
So the flashing you showed us down here, your sample, of course.
Yes.
This entire perimeter on the two sides
Right.
and the bottom is going to be flashed with this material.
Exactly.
Then this is a rigid flashing. Why don't you use tape flashing on the top?
Well, to me, it just makes sense. If I have this up there and water's dripping on the sticky part, it's just not going to do the job.
Eventually, it's not going to.
Yeah.
Okay. So with this, putting this in, this is aluminum.
Right.
And you put some screws in it.
Yeah.
It's not going to come out.
Exactly.
And then the water diverts to the sides and runs down versus coming into the house because water will find the path of least resistance.
Yes, it will.
So we're going to resist the water.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so Jeremy, I see you got the flashing in at the top, and I can see there's actually like caulking oozing out from behind that. So you really did load it up.
That was the first speed. We put that one first
Okay.
and smushed the rigid metal flashing up into that.
Okay.
So if the water comes down and sits on that flashing, it can't go into the
Can't
house.
weep into, suck into the
Forces
sheetrock.
it this way or out.
Okay, and then what do you do next? You have another bead, right?
We do, because if the water comes this way, you see there's a hole there. We don't want it sitting on the window and trying to go back. So we're going to put another big bead here and totally cover that sheetrock.
Okay.
And then all the way around, we're going to come with a bead against the
Right,
back
I
of the
see you got the
window sill.
flashing tape going onto the sheetrock, and then it turns and it comes out onto the brick. So now that you put sealant there, what you're saying is the window's going to have, you have a window, you have sealant, you have flashing, you have house.
Right,
Right, so there's no way for water to get in behind there.
right.
Okay, let's go to work. That sounds
Okay,
good.
great.
Okay, so Jeremy, I see Enrique's finishing up all this sealant. I mean, everywhere, all the way around it. Probably expensive too. I mean, that tape's not cheap. The sealant's not cheap because we use really good stuff. But we know that's going to actually give our homeowners a peace of mind, and that's really what you want. So I see we got the big window over there.
We do. It's heavy.
Yeah, it's very heavy because this is actually an aniline window that has a sound package on it. It's a sound reduction package. So instead of having double strength glass like most windows do, it actually has what's called offset glass. I've got a really good video about offset glass and how it reduces sound. We'll include it down there as well. So question gets asked, how do you know which window goes where? Because this house has 21 windows and a door. Tell me how you do that.
So when we come out, we create a measure sheet. And it has, a place for all the measurements.
Right.
We draw a diagram of the house. We draw pictures of the house.
Okay.
So that, we're on window number 12.
We're on number 12. And then you have a photo for number 12 as well? Yeah, I
Right.
see it right there. Yeah.
Yeah, right on the back of the house. It's numbered, window 12.
Okay.
So we can go to the first page, make sure it's
Find
the right
12,
measurement.
the measurement. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Perfect.
So that's
I
how
like
we do
that.
it.
That's really cool. Nice. All right. So now he's done. Let's get the window in. It's going to take what, 3 or 4 guys to get this thing up here?
I think I don't want to do it by myself.
Yeah, it's
that's for
pretty
sure.
heavy. Let me get out of the way. So that window was really heavy, wasn't it?
That was heavy.
Now we get Enrique screwing it in. I wanted to mention something about the screws we use. Now we have 2 different types of screws. It depends on what the job gives us, what the wall is, and what type of window it is. But we have a screw that's reverse thread screw, and it's really pretty cool, and we have a close-up of it for you to see. But basically, the first part of the threads, Jeremy, they go into the wood. The second part of the threads are actually cross-threaded. They go the opposite direction, right? And that actually helps lock the window into the cross thread and basically creates almost like a shim, doesn't it?
It is. That's the purpose of it, yes.
And that keeps the window from traveling because if you use a smooth shank screw, like a lot of screws are smooth all the way to the top inch or so, that window is now going to travel. It's going to move in and out across that screw, whereas a reverse thread screw or a fully threaded screw is going to hold it all the way in place so it doesn't keep moving around. Did I get that right? Did I say it right?
Yeah, yes, and the window fits the opening. So
Yes.
there's not room to put this big fat shim in there and suck a screw down flat to that shim, so that's why these are so great.
That makes so much sense. And also, we should point out that these are polymer coated screws, so they actually are safe from moisture. Now you saw what we did, right? We shouldn't get any moisture back there, but in the event any moisture somehow got onto the 2x4 from another source or something else, we don't want our screw just sitting in there and rusting and rotting out. So this screw will last longer than your window, longer than your mortgage, longer than your house. I like that about it.
Yep.
Okay, so what's next? What are we gonna do?
So we're on the outside, we're gonna put our low expansion foam and seal all the way around.
All right.
And after that dries, and we can caulk the inside and the outside.
Okay, so looking forward to that. So Jeremy, what I like about this caulk that we're using is that it's a low expansion foam, not a expansion foam like you normally see in the stores that actually swells too much, because that's going to cause the frame to possibly bow, wouldn't it?
It does, absolutely. The stuff that they used to make people insisted that we put it around their windows, and we tried to tell them that it's going to cause some damage.
Okay, so Jeremy, I see you got the window perfectly level. I mean, gosh, it's got to be level, right? That's so critical. Everything's looking awesome. You've got the foam there. The next thing, of course, is going to be
To
caulking,
caulk it,
right?
yeah. And Enrique's already put in the blue tape. We use blue tape because you can get nice straight lines.
Yeah.
Even though we're good at caulking, nobody can do better than tape.
Yeah, and I like that the frosting, if you will, on the
Right.
cake
Right.
is just beautifully done, and it's delicious. Well, I've never tasted it, but that's really important, because the caulking is important, Jeremy, right? But really the work is behind the wall. All the flashing you did,
Right.
all of that's really what's keeping the water out, isn't
Right.
it?
Yeah, actually, a job yesterday, not here. I was in another part of Houston. The lady had her windows done next door, and her caulking was black. It had totally mildewed over, and it's because somebody used a latex, an interior caulking. And what's sad about that is it was already getting gaps, and it was new. It was from a cheaper window company.
Yeah.
It's brand new. Not brand new, about a year old.
Yeah.
But it already had gaps, and I guarantee you they didn't do the flashing system.
Oh,
so
there's
that
no way.
means water's getting in the wall.
Right,
Just
yeah.
really sad.
That's
So
kinda messed up.
It's all important.
All right, well, let's get the caulking on there and let's wrap this up. Jeremy, this is turning out like perfect. Literally, I mean, like, this homeowner is going to be coming home from work in a few minutes, and he's going to say this looks awesome because it works well, it looks great. I see you got the blue tape up there. I see Enrique's caulking. He's almost finished with that. How long do you leave the blue tape on?
We don't leave it long at all. As soon as you get your bead,
Yeah.
nice looking like you want it, go ahead and peel it.
Okay.
It just gives a nice clean edge. It's
Wow,
really,
that looks
really
good.
Pretty.
And it's really tight. It's really clean. And you know, you're a good caulker, but you can caulk a lot better when you've got the blue tape on it, don't you?
Absolutely. Now it takes longer. Most installers don't want to do that. And even when you pull the blue tape, it folds a little bit, but then he comes back behind it and just straightens it right up again, and just nice straight edge.
Yeah. Hey, well, we got the camera here. I want to point something out, Jeremy. You see, it looks like they had some brick repair done up there in that top corner. You see that a while back?
I do.
If you're a window installer and you're watching this video, one of the things that we want you to probably consider is if you see anything that's already damaged, potentially damaged, it might be good to grab a homeowner. That's what we do. We grab the homeowner and say, hey, I just noticed this. I thought I'd point it out to you, because there are times that, you know, the house already has some issues, and if you're the last guy here and you're the one touching the house, maybe this can be confusion about how that happened. So, hey, by the way, we would love to earn your business, love to talk to you about your project. Even if you don't live in the Houston area, maybe we can point you in the right direction. Visit thewindowexperts.com. You'll find more information there. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.